Well, I think this is the classic of the one that we're doing, and a movie that probably means the most to me at the time that it came out, and still cast a shadow of what it means to me then and what it means to me now. Well, it was I literally was getting ready to this comes out in 91, doesn't it, or does it come out in 90? I think it's New York, but I actually think, if I'm not mistaken, it's playing in the theaters. It's probably straddling 90 and 91 as far as the theatrical engagement is concerned. But yeah, I'm getting ready to make Reservoir Dogs. So it's like so this movie is coming out where I actually now know I'm going to be a filmmaker. But it was also like a combination of I had a whole history with Abel Ferrara as far as following him, and this was an accumulation of what I'd always waited for him to do. But even before I get into that, which I kind of want to talk about that, before I get into that, was just kind of what this movie meant to me and like my partner at the time, Roger Avery, and all the other guys at Video Archives, and then also just kind of young filmmakers, because most of us were coming out of an attitude that the 80s was the worst decade in the history of Hollywood since the 50s, and definitely the most repressive decade. Even watching it today, and imagine talking about it, you got a certain kind of anxiety watching King of New York, because I think it's an absolute cinematic masterpiece. But there's an anxiety going around because it's so disruptible. You know, not everybody's going to get it. So you're going to have to fight for it. If you're going to talk about it in the terms that you want to talk about it, you're going to have to fight for it. And a whole lot of people are just not going to get it, because it can't even be compared to Abel Ferrara's next movie, The Bad Lieutenant. Because The Bad Lieutenant exists in an art house world. This is still in the exploitation movie world. Yeah. It doesn't have, it has the patina of this great look and these magnificent actors and all this stuff, but it is in this exploitation-y, our job is to make a big violent crime film that black folks are going to dig. Right. And that's what it is, and that's what it does. And it's not trying to be Scorsese. You know, as close as it is, as close as it adheres to, as much of it as it seems like a weird stepchild of Goodfellas from the same year. It has a more down market, disreputable B-movie vibe to it. People weren't walking out of the theaters when it was playing. Mm-hmm. All right, people were buying it, going to see it two or three times. It was a small audience. I mean, what was interesting about it though was King of New York came out, and it sent if you were on its vibe, it sent out a shockwave to you. Now, look, the audience that it was really that really connected with it was the black audience, and they didn't find it until video. Right. They didn't find it till video. They didn't find it till cable. All right. So it wasn't like they were filling the theaters. But now the thing that was interesting is after King of New York, I'm going to ballpark this, but somewhere after its last actual play date, 6 weeks or so later, 7 weeks or so later, came New Jack City. New Jack City was the hit that theatrically that King of New York wasn't. But to all of us, New Jack City was the Diet Coke version of King of New York. Right. Now, actually, it was still worth watching because we loved King of New York so much that even to take a watered down version of it, all right, was better than anything else. But to us, New Jack City was to King of New York what the Hunger Games was to Battle Royale. Right. But it's like the weak ass fucking version, but nevertheless. Yeah. No. If King of New York had been released by Universal, it could have had a chance. Yeah. Because New Jack City caught its wave within 6 weeks of King of New York. But even more than just that, it's more specific than that, because this is literally a movie filled with a cast of the most exciting young New York actors of that era, of that time. I mean, when you just looking at the opening credits as he's driving home in the limo, and you're just like, oh my goodness, this one, that one, and this one, and they all, and they've all done shit, so you all know who they are, but they haven't exploded the way they're going to. It's literally, it's
and then
it's 2 years before Steve Buscemi scores with Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. Look, Steve Buscemi was that guy when this movie was made. Yeah. It's 7 weeks before Wesley Snipes scores with New Jack City. Well, my feeling is, it's funny because it's like, as great as Christopher Walken is in this movie, to me, it's Larry Fishburne's movie. As great as Walken is in it. And to me, it was one of the bullet that it was the rock that becomes a diamond aspect of the movie. Yeah. It's why I could defend this movie against all comers, because to me, Fish's performance in this movie was comparable to a young Brando. It was the most exciting performance by an actor of his generation that I'd seen in a movie of that time. And I thought, well, that's it. There is a new Marlon Brando, and his name is Larry Fishburne. It was amazing. It was mesmerizing. He's also an interesting thing. He is the first hip-hop gangster in movie history. That character had never been done before this. He invented that character, and he invented it as something to do. It wasn't in the original script. Right. He came up with that himself, because it was actually, and we'll talk about it later. Look, ultimately, it's like the best thing that could ever happen for the movie happened, because it was the casting of, I don't think I'm talking completely out of school here. It was the casting of Fish that all of a sudden, then they got the idea, all right, to just pepper Frank's army, all right, with more black guys and more black guys and more black gals. And now all of a sudden, Frank White is sort of like Crazy Joe. Yeah. All right. A little bit a parallel to the Crazy Joe character. I think it's one of, it's the three big Fishburne moments. To me, is his opening sequence with the black. You play ball, Tito? Tito. That's it. Yeah, with Tito, black glove dude. All right, and his reunion with Frank, and then it's the chicken scene. Those are his three big arias. Not only that, though, is like also expressions that I would later hear for the rest of the decade. I actually heard for the first time in that scene. I'd never heard the expression, "I'll slap the black off you" before. All right. That was the first time I heard it when Fish says it to Snipes. All right. I've since heard it many times, but that was the first time I heard it. And that was actually the first time I ever heard, "Fuck you very much." And I would proceed to hear that, all right, for the rest of the 90s, all right? But those were the first times I'd ever heard those expressions. We've already said it before, but now to actually say it in the proper category is the whole hip hop gangster, the whole hip hop aspect, the black and Puerto Rican foot soldier gang. Yeah. All right, is like introduced a whole new thing to gangster films at that time. I say Fish. Ooh. I say it's Fish's Apex Mountain. I say because it's like as terrific as he has been in other things, it's the level of excitement that I had over him when this movie was over, I have never had that excitement again. I thought with this, he could be the greatest actor of his generation. That was an actual, real fucking thing. Wow. He could be the greatest actor of his generation after seeing this. Right. I'm going to go downtown, find me a girl, and get my knob polished. For black males, every line that Larry Fishburne has, you say to the screen as you watch it. It's like him and Smokey in fucking Friday. And you just say that, you say his lines with him. In that one, I think that's Fish. Yeah. That one I think is Fish. All right. There even is a moment when Fish comes out of the sunroof, all right, and is blowing two guns, that like Snipes is like, "Oh, what the fuck?" All right? Like, that's unfair. I got to do this shit. Hey, Jim, why didn't you visit me? Oh, yeah, of course. It's fucking amazing. Great line, of course.